introduction earlier. So I'm Leapfrog, and today's session is about how you can configure your JIRA board effectively. Actually, this session is in this session I am actually talking about what we do as a company in Leapfrog, what kind of settings we do in Leapfrog so that our JIRA board actually works good for us. So this is not something, I don't know, proven by other industry standard or not, but it's definitely what we use in our company, and it has been helping us for the past, I think, a decade. So I'm just trying to share that knowledge here. Okay. So before moving on, I'd like to set the expectation here. So this presentation is actually for those people who know a little bit about JIRA, know about project settings, and then what a board is. Right, little bit, maybe a 1 month experience, and then they now want to use it, experiment with JIRA to use it more effectively in their projects. This is also for some regular JIRA users who want to validate or who want to actually know what's happening in other projects or what other companies do, hopefully. Apart from these users, those who are already expert, I think I'm expecting you guys to put forward your own knowledge here, like I said, so that if there are anything that you think should be done otherwise, or you agree or disagree, please feel free to chip in. So it goes for everybody of us, every one of us. And this presentation is also not a workshop, though I would like to be a proper workshop, but lack of time, and then it's not that comprehensive. And it does not also contain any slides or animations of such things. But what I'll be doing is introducing some concepts. You might have known it already as well. And I'd like to show the end result of those concepts in the JIRA board itself. I'll be opening my JIRA board and I'll just showing it what we can expect and what actually happens. Right? Okay. So just a brief introduction. What is JIRA? So JIRA, at its core or at its heart, is just a issue tracker, right? It's nothing else. It's just an issue tracker that does its work very good. It provides a lot of other supplementary tools, a lot of third-party integrations, and all that helps us to track our issues, make a report out of it, monitor it, communicate it, be aware of it at every moment of our project life cycle, right? So that's what JIRA is, and I've been fortunate enough to be working with JIRA for the last 4 years. So that's doing very good for me. That's JIRA. Now JIRA is so good that it comes with its own default workflows, its own default issue types and all. It's pre-configured, right? If you start JIRA right out of the box, majority of your problem is probably going to be solved. I'm 90% sure it will be solved. Then why should we even bother customizing it? Because the answer is simple. All of our project, every project that we do is obviously going to be unique from others, or maybe your company's standard or your personal way of handling things may be different from others, and that's where you would like to tweak something in JIRA, and that's where JIRA does not disappoint. It allows you to tweak quite a bit, and also allow you to be quite consistent in what you do. Okay, so the first concept that I'd like to introduce is a workflow. So workflow is something that you create when you are actually starting a company, in fact. Not even at the beginning of a project. As a company, what kind of workflow do you like to set? And it generally means, workflow for a project means some tasks are in to-do progress, some tasks are not even being worked upon, but we have planned some tasks, right? So those tasks are in to-do process. Some tasks we take into a sprint. We try to do some, we actually do some actions to make it complete. Those tasks are in progress, right? So these kind of things, I think we should be clear about this right before we even start using JIRA. Okay, and when you are actually starting a project, this workflow, which is actually created by a company, can differ slightly because maybe in progress you might want to define in progress in different levels, right? It could be in progress, or what I'm trying to say is there are many processes that occurs between to-do or something starting and something being completed. In progress can be divided into many steps, like in progress for the dev, in progress because QA is testing, in progress because the client is has not yet approved of the tickets. So those kind of things may be client specific, maybe your project manager specific, and if you do those things, you can create those workflow right when you are creating a project as well. So just a little thing I would like to show. So how would you go on creating a workflow? It's pretty simple. You go to a project setting. There's the work. Can everybody see this? Yeah. Okay. So this is the workflow here, right? So here we have already defined our workflow and what kind of issues goes there. So let's see the diagram. This workflow is specifically for this project. Show me. Name it up, right? So there are a bunch of steps here. This is dev ready, this is to do, this one's backlog, this one's for internal testing, this is in QA, this is selected for development. So, I mean, you can assign these kind of labels to your particular issues, right? So how this helps is, before doing any project, you are obviously going to create a list of what you're going to do, right? So those things, you might not actually do it right away, or you might not even have actually validated with the client that you're going to do this, right? So we need to have different buckets for those kind of things. That's why we have backlog for that. We create a backlog, and then if the stories are verified by the client, if the acceptance criteria are, by the way, are all of you aware about these terms, acceptance criteria? Is there anyone who doesn't know about? All right, that's really great. So once it's verified, maybe we'll take it to the selected for development phase, and that's all right. So for this, we create the different stages in the workflow. Okay. Moving forward, this is quite related to workflow. So another term that we definitely use in our company is Swimlanes. So what this is basically you are categorizing the issues horizontally. In JIRA, you can see different columns, right? To do, what I say, to do in progress done. And then you can even categorize your issues horizontally with different categories, right? It could be categorized according to, let's say, issue types, which could be an epic or a story. It could be categorized by who it is being assigned to. It could be categorized by, what's the priority status of it, right? So for that, we can create swim lanes, and basically what it does is it makes it very easier for anyone, a project manager or a team lead or even the developers, to see at a quick glance, what kind of things that our project, what kind of issues our project comprises of, right? What kind of category these issues fall in, or it can also help you quickly identify some maybe bugs, or what are the prioritized issues. So I'd like to show an example of a swim lane. Okay, you can see here. So when I said earlier, I talked about selected for development in progress. These are the workflows. These are separated into columns, and you can see this expedite. Everything else is here because at this point of stage, everything else was secondary, and they were in the project where the client was trying to do some demo. So that's why we have only used 2 swim lanes here. And this expedite, what it does is all the issues that has higher priority, it automatically gets up to the expedite column, right? Row. And how this has helped us is, luckily this was one of the few projects where the client was pretty active and the client wanted to work in JIRA with us, right? But if we had showed them everything like this, I think they would have stopped using it the very next day, right? We wanted to show them what's actually important. And what was important for us was, there were some tasks that was blocked by the clients, and we wanted to show them that clearly. We wanted to communicate that clearly through our board, and that's what we did. So those issues, which needed a confirmation from the clients, we assigned a priority called blocker there, and then we created a swim lane called expedite, and then all those high priority things, the blocker priorities issues, would go to this swim lane. And if client comes, they would only have to see this. They don't want to use any other knobs or bells or whistles, right? So that was really easy for them. So to configure your swim lane, you can go here, it's about settings. So these are the swim lanes here. Right now it's based on queries. You can choose any of the story that you'd like.
any of the category that you would like, I think let me just try my signings. Go back to the board. Okay, so here's one developer. I can easily see which issues are done by particular developer, right? And this is one from me. So it's pretty easy. Let's go back to the previous settings. And this one here, I'd like to point out, these are some of the custom queries that we have used for the earlier Swimlane that I described, right? So the name is expedite, and then I have set the priority blocker. So doing this way, I can actually customize the different types of swim lanes by ourselves, which are not given by JIRA beforehand. Okay, so anything anyone wants to add or ask about swim lanes? So next one is quick filters. So it's very nifty tool, to search quickly what you want from a query, right? So maybe there's a little bit of learning curve here because you would probably have to learn a little bit of JQL, but I don't think that's really tough. As a developer, I think we feel pretty home to it. Maybe as a project manager, also, it's not going to be that much bit of a problem there. But quick filters really help us to stream down our searches. Really helps us to focus our search on something and generate a report out of it. So this is another one of the features that you would want to learn and create some of them beforehand, right? So to go to the quick filters, it's the same menu. Go to the project, go to the board settings. Quick filters. Create one here. Let's say okay. Can I issue? Just priority high. I'd like to create a filter that filters out all the high priority issues. So I just name it here. I write a little bit of JQL, which is really simple. So there you go. There you have the autocomplete, auto suggestion as well. So what I just did is I wanted issues whose priority is marked as blocker, right? I'll not add any description over here. And now it's created priority high. So if you go to your Kanban board, the list of quick filters, you can find this filter over here. By doing this, I see all the issues that has priority high. Even though I actually did it through the Swimlane as well, but just for the sake of simplicity, I have done this. So right, these kind of things are very useful for us. Create as many quick filters as you like. Even the quick filters can be hidden to, it can be user specific as well, right? So that's really helpful. Okay. Another thing I'd like to talk about are columns. So this is actually quite related to the workflow itself. Like I said, JIRA by default gives only in progress, to do in progress and done columns, right? And then what I did here just now is I have created multiple custom columns that suits my need, right? So I don't think I have to explain more about it, but I'll just show you how you can create more columns in a board. Okay. So similar as before, go to the project settings, go to columns, right? This is not that clear. So texts are not that important, but just see the actions. So here you have very good interface. You can add a column over here. Let's say I'd like to add a UAT column over there. And the category definitely goes to the in progress category, right? So I'll just create it. Oh, I think UAT is also. Done. And it. Okay, so you've got the demo1 column over here. Okay. Then if you go back to the Kanban board, you will probably see demo1. Right. Just a moment. I think I messed up something over here, but I think you get the gist of it. So you can definitely create new columns over here and then just put it over here. And then for a column to be active, you have to actually put some status, which is already here. The demo1 status is already over here. So by doing this, the demo1 column is actually active for your board. So something went wrong here, I'm sorry for that. I think I'll figure it out and again share it to you later. But the main point is, I mean, you can create as many columns as you like, but like be sure to not exceed them by 7 or 8 because by that time you would not make any sense of your code, right? Okay, so those are about columns. So now, I'd like to talk about layout customization. This is basically, our JIRA board is jam-packed with a lot of informations that may or may not be useful for us. And it's very essential for us to customize our card so that it shows exactly what we need, right? Something might be important for us, something might not be. For example, user log time may be important to a developer, but it may be not that important for a client or for a project manager. Maybe what's important for a project manager is, let's say, what's the estimate for that issue, or what's the priority status for that issue, right? So we can actually customize those kind of things in the JIRA board and then have them pop up to our screen by default. So what I'm trying to say is, if you go to choose another Kanban board. So here, so we have customized our card layout to show the ticket name, obviously, and the priority, and this icon actually show the type of the issue. So this blue one is actually showing that this is an epic, right? So maybe I would like to show the story points in this screen. So let me just do that. I'll just try to show this story point in that card. Something's wrong. Okay, never mind. Something's not working over here. I'll show you some other project where it has the story points. Okay, just forget about it. So the gist here is you can put the story points there, and then it can be shown in the card layout itself. I'm sorry, so I'm running into some issues over here. I think I'll get back to view of that one as well. Okay. Let me talk a little bit more about what you can do, even though if I may be able to show it to you or not. So go to your board settings, and then there you can see the card layout screen here, right? So here you can add actually what kind of fields you would like to show in your card. Here's the options that you have. If you'd like to see the component that it belongs to, you can do that, right? So this kind of settings, you can do it in the project setting itself. There's the whole higher level settings in the, that was the board settings. You can do the high level settings in the project setting itself as well. So there you can configure the issue layout, the layout, and then just what I did, you can actually add these kind of things, the story points, if you want, the original estimate if you want in the field, and it will be shown in the board itself. Okay. So these are the two places where you'd like to, where you would want to customize your card layouts. Okay, moving on. So another key concept of JIRA is components. So this is very useful in JIRA because JIRA currently, as of now, as far as I know, doesn't have the concept of multi-project management, right? So you've got one project and then there's no concept of sub projects by default. So that's where components helps. What we do is we create a umbrella project name. Let's say the earlier example I showed of SuperCare Health. It's an umbrella project. There could be a mobile application there. There could be a web application there. They are their own independent project in their own rights, right? So what you can do is you can create components. You can create leads for all of those components. So maybe a mobile app component can have an iOS senior developer as a lead, right? Or maybe there's another web application component, you can put some other developer there as a lead. So there's that concept, and then everything actually falls under the same JIRA ticket name, right? So let's say if the project name is Ubers, then you can see all of these projects come under UV, RTZ initials, which is very easy for us to manage, and then which is very easy for us to create the hierarchy between different project and sub-project as well, right? Also, it helps you to modularize your project. By that, I mean, maybe in a web project, you can actually divide the issues into, say, the API part or the actual view part, right? So you can do that, and then each module can even have its own team lead, and then as a project manager or maybe as a client, they will know who's the actual responsible person is, all kind of things that you can do with components. This is where it actually shines. So we definitely have multiple components in our different projects because we are working on different stacks in each of the projects. So one such example is SuperCare Health, okay? Go here. Settings. Over here, sorry. If you go to the components over here, you can see that this umbrella project SuperCare Health has this many components. There were tracks, right? So when I was a developer and I first worked on this project, I was only concerned about this component, and I only got notifications about this component. I was the component lead. I could have seen, I could see only these issues, even though these are all from the same project. I was not bothered by the notification from other things and all, right? My project manager was actually involved in all of these components. He would easily find out, what's issues in all of these components, so that was relevant to him. For me, PAT was only important, so I was the lead here, and then I could only worry about this particular component. So that's how you actually divide or create a hierarchy of projects using JIRA. Okay. It's about components. So another thing is versioning. So this is what we try to follow in Leapfrog. So every sprint release, we know it's labeled as a sprint. Sprint 1, sprint 2, in all the issues are actually categorized there. We initiate a sprint. Still, we also include the versions in all of those issues for a particular sprint. Let's say a particular version is sprint 12_v 1.0.1, something like that. So we tend to version all of our issues that are going to be released in a particular sprint. How that helps is actually when you are generating a report, or even when you are even generating a release note. So it gets automatically grouped there, and then it's very easy for you to make a report out of it, find out how many bugs were there in the particular sprint. So those kind of reporting is very easier with versioning. So how we actually do this is, the backlog. So let me see here. I think I have. Okay. So this is the release section here. So by pressing this, I had actually created quite a couple of releases earlier. So you can see that I have all the 1.1.0 and 1.0.0. These all has their particular issues there. You can see here, but just by looking at this, even though this version was released, all of the tasks were not completed, right? So this kind of quick feedback we can also get from there. So you can get the release dates, and these kind of things are actually by default. So what you have to do while creating a new version is just go to this releases screen, press this button, create version. Now create a new version. Then okay, so here you can see versions. Oh, so the actual release date could be 2 weeks, right? Save it. Now go to your Kanban board. Let's say I'd like to release this issue at that particular time. So I click on that issue, I go to the fixed versions over here, then I'd actually type AUZ 1.2.0, right? Okay. So I have marked this issue to be released for that particular release version. Now when I'm done with this issue, I'm obviously going to move it over here. Now I have the option of releasing this version, right? This was the latest version that I was planning to do. And then by clicking over here, I have this option to click on it. Right? So what this says to me is one issue will be released from user meetup, and this is this one I chose. So release date, I might have done it, let's say, this time. So version is released. So to see your released versions, to generate the report or get a quick glance, you go to the release section again, click here, click on this release tab, and you can see the releases over here, right? So if you want to go into details, click on this. You can see a little bit more details over here. If you want to see the release notes, which is automatically generated by JIRA, you can see over here. So you can even copy this and then put it anywhere else you like, or you can even copy this and then put it in your markdown. This is the markdown itself, so it's supported. So this has actually helped me to quickly generate release notes. I don't have to think too much about what I have done in the past because everything is there in the ticket itself, and I can easily summarize by looking at these stories. I could ignore the bugs while creating the release notes. Maybe I can put them together in known issues, and then I can just list all of them. So I can do a lot of things with that. So I just like to show you one documentation that actually shows the same thing. Confluence, and then just load. Okay. So this was actually pulled from JIRA automatically, right? So this is the a part of it is also from Confluence, where it has a good macro that integrates JIRA. But then all of these releases is possible because I actually created a release version and actually released from JIRA board itself, right? By doing that, I have this many information over here. Now these are always documented here, and if we want to present to a client about what's important, I can easily copy it from here. I can easily, you got the ticket name over here as well, which you can easily reference it to. When you need to maybe review on the issue or I don't know, talk more about the issue to the client. So this has been very helpful to us. So moving on, release note, like I already said, these release notes can be created by JIRA itself. That's what I showed previously, and it's a very nifty feature. I love it very much because as a developer, I do not care about documentation, right? Because I just want to do my work and then I'm done after that. But as a team lead, I have to think more, and then so it's my responsibility to do my documentation myself. And if these kind of things offer this kind of automated release notes, then why not, right? So you guys can try it as well. And then there are a lot of third-party integration that you can do with JIRA. The majority of which we use is Slack and GitHub. By Slack, you can actually integrate your JIRA notification to a Slack channel, and then you can get notified every time. If you want it, I don't know why you want it, but you can do that, right? So notification would be, let me just show you. Okay. These are some examples that shows what happens when you integrate Slack with JIRA, right? So you get this many information. Even if you move if you create an epic over here, I created an epic. This is being notified in the Slack channel. I transition the text. This is in the this is also notified in the Slack channel. So, this is very useful because you get notified of what actually someone is doing in your project. But this can very easily get unwieldy because look at this. I mean, it's cluttered, right?
It's noise.
It's noise, exactly. Right. So what we generally do is, we create a new channel that says JIRA or something like that, and then we dump all of these notifications there. We hope our PM or client is watching. I mean, it's good if you take a look at it sometimes because you know who is actually doing the project. But it's something that I think we need, but we don't really deep dive into, right? But you can definitely do this with JIRA and Slack. Okay, moving on. So yeah, so this is what I think. JIRA is awesome, really awesome. It has a lot of options that we can use. I do not claim to be even an intermediate in JIRA, and I don't know who is the expert in JIRA in Nepal. I don't know if there is somebody else that somebody claims to be a JIRA expert. I definitely want to meet him or her. I'm just saying this because it is so vast, yet even by not doing almost all of it, you can increase your productivity by say 100%. I'm pretty sure of that, right? So it is awesome. But it is also true that a tool is only as good as the person using it, right? So all of the examples that I showed depends on how often do you follow a process while even creating a JIRA issue. How often do you put story points in your cards? How often do you log your time so that it's reflected on the JIRA dashboard, right? All this kind of data actually contributes to the efficient reporting of JIRA, right? So if you do not have that data early on, JIRA is not going to be of any help to us. So as I'd like to say, even though I was lazy, I'm still lazy. I make it my point to help my project manager to create a good report for the client. That's why I put all of my, all of this data that PM requires or the project requires in the card itself, in the issue itself. I encourage that to my team members as well. I hope you do that as well because, as you can see, it's very, without the data, your board is shit. Like your board does not mean anything to anybody. It's just extra work to us. So thank you. That is it. Sorry for some minor glitches over there. Thank you for listening. If anybody has any questions,